Record. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so it is January 6th, 2024. It's 4:35 p.m. And you gotta get dressed up for special occasions. Like, I mean, it's apparently a special occasion. So that's what you do when you have special occasions. And normally, like, I don't ever put on this color or lipstick. So I don't know. And I'm wearing silver pyrite. Yeah. Anyways, I got three speeches. I'm really busy. So I got three speeches. Be doing three speeches. Um, and then singing. I mean, because that's what I've been doing, right? But that's what I've been doing this whole time, right? Okay, so let's get started. Hold on. So of course we're gonna go into history because you know me, I love history. We're gonna go to, you know, these are speeches. These are real speeches. These are real speeches. Okay, so I've talked about this one before. I don't know when this was. I think October of last year, maybe September of last year, maybe. I don't know, but okay. So the Gettysburg Address. This is a speech that U.S. President Abraham Lincoln delivered during the American Civil War at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery, now known as the Gettysburg National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, on the afternoon of November 19th, 1863, 4.5 months after the Union armies defeated Confederate forces in the Battle of Gettysburg, the Civil War's deadliest battle. It remains one of the best known speeches in American history. Isn't that something that what is going on with all these pop-ups? Okay. So, isn't that something where Abraham Lincoln does a speech, one of the most well-known American history speeches, right? And he does it at a cemetery where there's dead people. They're dead. He does the speech in a cemetery. In the cemetery. There's a lot of people there too that watch him speak about. They watched him. Interesting how that works, isn't it? Hmm. It's almost like it's flipped. It's Abraham Lincoln known for? Honest Abe. He was a lawyer. You go to court, fight for justice for people that he knew couldn't fight or wouldn't take. Hmm. Okay. Let's keep going. Lincoln's carefully crafted but brief address, which was not even scheduled as the day's primary speech, came to be seen as one of the greatest and most influential statements on the American national purpose. And just 271 words, beginning with the now famous phrase, 7 years ago, referring to the signing of the Declaration of Independence. 87 years earlier, Lincoln described the U.S. as a nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. That's sweet. All men are created equal. Where does it say that women are created equal at? Anywhere? Anywhere? Didn't think so. And represented the Civil War as a test that would determine whether such a nation could endure. So yeah, said that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth. Hmm, sounds very familiar to me. Oh yeah, that's right, because Abraham Lincoln is ancestor of mine. Yeah, we share almost similar the same chart exactly, but it's flipped. He's the masculine, like me as a masculine and feminine. Yeah. Mhm. Keep going. So despite the prominent place of the speech in the history and the popular culture of the United States, is its exact wording is disputed. How about fucking that? Huh. The five known manuscripts of the Gettysburg Address in Lincoln's hand differ in a number of details and also differ from contemporary newspaper reprints of the speech. Nor is it precisely clear where on the grounds of the Gettysburg Cemetery Lincoln delivered the address. So the Soldiers National Cemetery at the Soldiers National Monument, such that it stood entirely within the private adjacent Evergreen Cemetery. Hmm. So we know about the Gettysburg Address. I said that one a few months ago. Yeah, quite a few months ago. Probably 4 months ago, something like that. Okay, next. Here we go. This one's going to be a little bit longer, but this one, almost every American should know. I don't know it by like word, but Americans should know this one. I have a dream, Martin Luther King Jr. So I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. 50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This I don't want to say the wrong word here, but decree came as a great beacon, light of hope to millions of, and I'm just going to say, I don't really know if I should say this, but I'm saying it for the speech. So uh, don't take it, don't take it as, yeah, please don't do that. Light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro still languishes in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. So we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was the promise that all men, yes, Black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this note and is so far as for citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. And so we have come to cash this check, a check that will give us, upon demand, the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summer of the Negroes' legitimate discontent will not pass until there is a invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. And those who hope that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content will have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual. There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But there is something that I must say to my people who stand on the worn threshold which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new, is it militant, militancy, which has engulfed the Negro community, must not lead us to a distrust of all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. And they have come to realize that their freedom is bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone. And as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our bodies, heavy with the fatigue of travel, cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highways and the hotels of the cities. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one. We can never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating, for whites only. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro in Mississippi cannot vote, and the Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I am not unmindful that some of you have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells. Some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi, go back to Alabama, go back to South Carolina, go back to Georgia, go back to Louisiana, go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities. Knowing that somehow the situation can and will be changed, let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the son of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racist, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be plain and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. And this will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with a new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing, a land where my father died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let the freedom ring from the hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from the Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And when this happens, and when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, Black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. I got one more speech. By John F. Kennedy. We choose to go to the moon. Oh my gosh. So we meet at a college noted for knowledge, in a city noted for progress, in a state noted for strength, and we stand in a need of all three, for we meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. Despite the striking fact that most of the scientists that the world has ever known are alive and working today, despite the fact that this nation's own scientific manpower is doubling every 12 years in a rate of growth more than 3 times that of our population as a whole, despite that, the vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished still far outstrip our collective comprehension. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come, but condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of but a half century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year, and then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin and television and nuclear power. And now, if America's new spacecraft succeed in reaching Venus, we will have literally reached the stars before midnight tonight. This is a breathtaking pace. And such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. New ignorance, new problems, new dangers. Surely the opening vistas of space promise high costs and hardships as well as high reward. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer to rest, to wait. But the city of Houston, the state of Texas, this country of the United States, was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them. This country was conquered by those who moved forward, and so will space. William Bradford, speaking in 1630 of the founding of the Plymouth Bay Colony, said that all great and honorable actions are accompanied with great difficulties, and both must be enterprised and overcome with answerable courage. If this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. The exploration of space will go ahead, whether we join it or not, and it is one of the great adventures of all time, and no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind in the race for space. Those who came before us made certain that this country rode the first waves of the industrial revolutions, the first waves of modern invention, and the first wave of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be part of it. We mean to lead it. For the eyes of the world now look into space, to the moon, and to the planets beyond, and we have vowed that we shall not see it governed by a hostile flag of conquest, but by a banner of freedom and peace. We have vowed that we shall not see space filled with weapons of mass destruction, but with instruments of knowledge and understanding. Yet the vows of this nation can only be fulfilled if we in this nation are first, and therefore we intend to be first, ensure our leadership in science and in industry, our hopes for peace and security, our obligations to ourselves as well as others, all require us to make this effort to solve these mysteries, to solve them for the good of all men, and to become the world's leading spacefaring nation. We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won, and they must be won and used for the progress of all people. For space science, like nuclear science and all technology, has no conscience of its own. Whether it will become a force for good or ill depends on man. And only if the United States occupies a position of preeminence can we help decide whether this new ocean will be a sea of peace or a new terrifying theater of war. I do not say that we should or will go unprotected against the hostile misuse of space any more than we go unprotected against the hostile use of land or sea. But I do say that space can be explored and mastered without feeding the fires of war, without repeating the mistakes that man has made in extending his writ around this globe of ours. There is no strife, no prejudice, no nation conflict in outer space as yet. Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind, and its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago? Fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills, because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win, and others too. It is for these reasons that I regard the decision last year to shift our efforts in space from low to high gear as among the most important decisions that will be made during my, I don't know how to say that, incumbency in the office of the presidency. In the last 24 hours, we have seen facilities now being created for the greatest and most complex exploration in man's history. We have felt the ground shake and the air shattered by the testing of a Saturn C1 boosted rocket, many times as powerful as the Atlas, which launched John Glenn, generating power equivalent to 10,000 automobiles with their accelerators on the floor. We have seen the site where 5 F1 rocket engines, each one as powerful as all 8 engines of the Saturn combined, will be clustered together to make the advanced Saturn missile, assembled in a new building to be built at Cape Canaveral, as tall as a 48-story structure, as wide as a city block, and as long as 2 lengths of this field. Within these last 19 months, at least 45 satellites have circled the Earth. Some 40 of them were made in the United States of America, and they were far more sophisticated and supplied far more knowledge to the people of the world than those of the Soviet Union. The spacecraft, now on its way to Venus, is the most intricate instrument in the history of space science. The accuracy of that shot is comparable to firing a missile from Cape, I can't say the word, Canaveral, and dropping it in this stadium between the 40-yard lines. Transit satellites are helping our ships at sea to steer a safer course. Tyro satellites have given us unprecedented warnings of hurricanes and storms, and will do the same for forest fires and icebergs. We have had our failures, but so have others, even if they do not admit them, and they may be less public. To be sure, we are behind, and will be behind for some time in manned flight. But we do not intend to stay behind, and in this decade we shall make up and move ahead. The growth of our science and education will be enriched by new knowledge of our universe and environment, by new techniques of learning and mapping and observation, by new tools and computers for industry, medicine, the home, as well as the school. Technical institutions such as Rice will reap the harvest of these gains. And finally, the space effort itself, while still in its infancy, has already created a great number of new companies and tens of thousands of new jobs. Space and related industries are generating new demands in investment and skilled personnel in this city and the state and this region will share greatly in this growth. What was once the furthest outpost on the old frontier of the West will be the furthest outpost on the new frontier of science and space. Houston, your city of Houston, with its manned space craft center, will become the heart of a large scientific and engineering community. During the next 5 years, the National Space Administrative expects to double the number of scientists and engineers in this area, to increase its outlays for salaries and expenses to $60 million a year, to invest some $200 million in plant and laboratory facilities, and to direct or contract for new space efforts over $1 billion from this center in this city. To be sure, all of this costs us all a good deal of money. This year's space budget, and 3 times what it was in January 1961, and is greater than the space budget of the previous 8 years combined. The budget now stands at is that 5 billion? 5 million? 5 billion? Something like that. A staggering sum, though somewhat less than we pay for cigarettes and cigars every year. Space expenditures will soon rise some more, from 40 cents per person per week to more than 50 cents a week for every man, woman, and child in the United States, for we have given this program a high national priority. Even though I realize that this is in some measure an act of faith and vision, for we do not now know what benefits await us. But if I were to say, my fellow citizens, that we shall send to the moon 240,000 miles away from the control station in Houston, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall, the length of this football field, made of new metal alloys, some of which have not yet been invented, capable of standing heat and stresses several times more than have ever been experienced, fitted together with a precision better than the finest watch, carrying all the equipment needed for guidance, control, communications, food, and survival, on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth. Re Re-entering the atmosphere at speeds of over 25,000 miles per hour, causing heat about half that of the temperature of the sun, almost as hot as it is here today. And do all this and do it right and do it first before this decade is out, then we must be bold. I'm the one who is doing all the work, so we just want you to stay cool for a minute. However, I think we're going to do it, and I think that we must pay what needs to be paid. I don't think we ought to waste any money, but I think we ought to do the job. And this will be done in the decade of the 60s. It may be done while some of you are still here at school, at this college and university. It'll be done during the term of office for some of people who sit here on this platform, but it will be done, and it'll be done before the end of this decade. I am delighted that this university is playing a part in putting a man on the moon as part of a great national effort of the United States of America. Many years ago, the great British explorer George Mallory, who was to die on Mount Everest, was asked why did he want to climb it. He said, because it is there. Well, space is there, and we're going to climb it. And the moon and the planets are there, and new hopes for knowledge and peace are there. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked. Why did John F. Kennedy want to go to the moon? What do we say the moon is in astrology? We're going to land a man on the moon. The moon is the mother and the child. We're going to the moon. Because not only are just all men created equal, but also all women and children. Everyone is. All these people got assassinated. All of them. Abraham Lincoln, shot in a movie theater, hidden in plain sight. Martin Luther King, shot a hotel balcony. Someone was outside, shot him. Wow, it was flipped. for John F. Kennedy. Hmm. Who also kind of was involved with John F. Kennedy, but was a kind of a big deal too. Oh, Marilyn Monroe. Beautiful woman. She's beautiful. Blonde, beautiful. You know, she also had endometriosis. I dealt with endometriosis. Hmm, not bad. She had issues having children. You know, very, very nice, beautiful girl, woman. You know, and it's sad that people do say things about women and how they look and their size. But Marilyn Monroe, she, to me, honestly, like Marilyn Monroe, like her thickness, like is she looked better like with some meat on her. Like she did. I mean, she looked good. She looked good always, but like that she did. She looked really good you know, with some meat on her. Bombshell. She's one that sang the happy birthday song to John F. Kennedy, too. Cake, birthday, happy birthday. She can sing the song with snippet from the classic song Thanks for the Memory, for which she had written new lyrics specifically aimed at Kennedy. So thanks, Mr. President, for all the things you've done, the battles that you've won, the way you deal with U.S. Steel and our problems by the ton. We thank you so much. Afterwards, as a large birthday cake was presented to him, President Kennedy came on stage and joked about Monroe's version of the song, saying, I can now retire from politics after having had Happy Birthday sung to me in such a sweet, wholesome way, alluding to Monroe's delivery, skin-tight dress, and image as a sex symbol. The performance was one of Monroe's last major public appearances before her death, less than 3 months later. Let's see. Let's look at her death too. Let's just look. Died of a barbiturate. It's barbiturate. Yeah, overdose inside her home in Los Angeles. Her body was discovered before dawn the following morning on August 5th. Wow, August 5th is that's the day that I that I got married in 2016. Yeah, how about it? Monroe had been one of the most popular Hollywood stars during the 1950s and early 1960s and was top billed actress for the preceding decade. Her films had grossed 200 million by the time of her death. Let's see. Monroe had suffered from mental illness and substance abuse. And she had not completed a film since The Misfits, released on February 1st, 1961, which was a box office disappointment. Monroe had spent 1961 preoccupied with her various health problems, and in April 1962 had begun filming Something's Gotta Give for 20th Century Fox. But the studio fired her in early June. Fox publicly blamed Monroe for the production's problems, and in the weeks preceding her death, she had attempted to repair her public image by giving several interviews to high-profile publications. She also began negotiations with Fox on being rehired for Something's Gotta Give and for starring roles in other productions. Monroe spent the day of her death, August 4th, at her home in Brentwood. She was accompanied at various times by publicist Patricia Newcomb, housekeeper, and Eunice Murray, photographer, and Lawrence Schiller, and psychiatrist Ralph Greenson. Psychiatrist. At Greenson's request, the psychiatrist's request, Murray stayed overnight to keep Monroe company. At approximately 3 a.m. on Sunday, August 5th, Murray noticed that Monroe had locked herself in her bedroom and appeared unresponsive. When she looked inside through a window, Murray alerted Greenson, who arrived soon after entering the room by breaking a window, and found Monroe dead. Her death was officially ruled a probable suicide by the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, based on information about her overdosing and being prone to mood swings and suicidal ideation. No evidence of foul play was found, and accidental overdose was ruled out because of the large amount of barbiturates she had ingested. Despite the coroner's findings, several conspiracy theories suggested murder or accidental overdose have been proposed since the mid-1960s. Many of these involve U.S. President John F. Kennedy and his brother. But because of the prevalence of these theories in the media, the Office of the Los Angeles County District Attorney reviewed the case, but found no evidence to support them and did not disagree with the findings of the original investigation. Sound familiar? Wow. How about that? Hmm. No, but I called it. I called it. I called it. So whether people believe me or not, I don't care. But if you flip it around, just like Abraham Lincoln, he was at the cemetery, he did a speech. And I sit there and say, who speaks for the dead? Who speaks for the dead? Do they get their justice? Do they? They are now. But so does the living. They should also get their justice. And yes, Marilyn Monroe was killed. She was murdered. She didn't kill herself. They killed her. So, and you can believe that if you don't have to believe that if you don't want to believe it. But I thought I'd give one last opportunity for my ex-husband to see if we could come to an agreement to like 50-50 with the kids, not have to sit there and go back and forth. Um, but no, I need to get I need to see a psychiatrist and get checked. So that's the next thing that they're going to try in court. But the thing is I'm not worried about it because I'm not crazy. I'm not. He can call me schizophrenic all he wants. But have you actually looked up people that actually have that? And then you probably see a lot different than what you're seeing with this. But if people want to believe that, that's on them. Once again, I'm not. I think I've shown quite a bit to say that all of this adds up. So I don't know. Yeah, never. It's really kind of cool that while I talked about a mansion, like a big mansion. We're gonna invite everybody. He wants everybody to come. It's cute, you know. And I remember not too long ago, a few months ago, I remember grabbing a Bible and running in, and then had some F-18s come out yesterday. The dark wants me to believe that there's going to be a bomb, a nuclear bomb. It could very well happen, yes. I've had the dream about it, but it doesn't have to be that way. You know why? So when I pulled up Abraham's chart, when he did the address, Pluto was with Neptune. So that what does that mean? Powerful dreams. Also means power struggles within those dreams. Maybe reaching them, or just power struggles in general, illusions. And then also during that time is Saturn is with Neptune and was Scorpio at that time. Now it's with Pisces. Interesting how that works, huh? Because right now we've got Pluto with Icarus. Power struggles, burned, falling, bomb. Actually can mean many things, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's all up to the collective on how we work through our own trauma and issues. I said this yesterday. I saw I'm busy. I got a lot of work. I sign a lot of things. But just like the soldiers that went to war, do you think they got their justice for PTSD nightmares? Do you think that? Do you think they did? My great grand my great grandpa, maybe great great grandpa, but it was a Vietnam War with his best friend. He watched his best friend's head get blown up, shot, drank himself to death. He didn't get any help. Where's the justice for those people? For them? Where is justice? The Constitution of the United States is no longer working, and it will fall. And every capitalism person that wants power control will fall. Tell people that what we knew, what we've always known, will fall. But that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. Like the White House, they've kept the White House the same. They've kept the White House the same. They haven't really done anything different with it. So you know what I think is really cool? All glass. Well, of course, bulletproof glass, but all glass. A glass house. Glass White House. Glass, a glass house. And to show as a country that people think glass is breakable. But even if you can break it, guess what? You can always rebuild. You can always rebuild. People say that can't be done. They don't know me. They don't know me. I don't give up. I don't. Argue too much with Pete Butt Plug up there. Oops. But you know, but you know, I mean, it was all over the news. Yeah, I was all over the news. Oh my gosh. Okay. But well, because of course they're going to bring up my past. Of course they're going to bring up my past. I don't care. This is why I did this in the first place, because I knew my past was going to be brought up, and I didn't. And plus, it's like practice. I'm practicing. This is all practice for me. This is practice time for me, because I had to learn not to be bothered by people who would come at me, because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to come at me. A lot. I mean, a lot of people already did, but I'm just saying, I I had to learn. Like I had to learn that, and I had to actually get through that, because if I didn't, I would have yeah, I could I would yeah, it just I had to, you know? And I don't really care if people have a problem with if I acted out. The problem is this is society right now, with women and children and even men that aren't getting the help that they need. They're not getting the help they need. Healthcare, that's another one. Yeah, we'll be fixing that one. It's not gonna be about money anymore. We're going to be communities again. The money system, the budget thing is going to, I'm working on that. I don't know. That one's going to be a little bit hard to tackle, but that one's going to be a little bit harder to tackle, but I get it. I have other people that like help with that. I have other people to help with that. Like, but that's the whole point is everything's going to change, but in a good way, in a good way. The dark wants me to believe one thing because of my dream, but then I saw the illusions and I can get through of changing it. It doesn't have to be that way. Russia and China said they were forming. Yeah, well, I finally got them to form with us together. Like I did it. We figured out. We do. Oh, and the football field thing. Yeah, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to just throw a big party? Have a bunch of musicians there. I'm gonna have a lot of musicians like coming to me. They're gonna come to me. But I also am gonna have a lot of musicians. They're gonna perform. And everyone's gonna be there. I mean, not everybody, but you know what I mean? There's gonna be a lot of people there. And it's gonna be fun. Because you do things differently. It's time to have a good time. Stuff always like it's just the times are changing for better. So Wiley and Wolf are with me. They're there. You know, there's other people there. Well, if they want to be, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, who would have known? Who would have known? But we couldn't have done it without the help of people on the other side. Told you I had an army. They've all been helping me. They all have. I speak for both. As above, so below. And hopefully it's time for me to finally get protection. At least something. Because the dark is not going to give up easily. Gotta fight first. So just because doesn't mean that's always can end up that way either. So I just either way, I go through every day as it is and just see what happens. But it's time. It's time to start working together. We have to. That's our only hope as humanity. Like I said, this is our last chance. This is it. This is it. We had to try doing it right this time. But yeah, thank you for anybody who did really believe in me. And I know there's going to be people who won't, or, and I know it's not going to be easy, and I know it's going to be work, but we can do it. We've been doing it as a collective. It's been coming along. That's why people are starting to get spiritual. There's things moving along. It's time. It's time. It's time to start fighting for each other. For, not against. We gotta start working together. We gotta stop putting, we just gotta stop blaming, pointing fingers. 'Cause at the end of the day, we all, once again, we all are to blame. But we're all more alike than what we think. And we're all our own person too. We're gonna get it. I have hope. I have hope. I know I had to go through all of this for a reason. So let's just hope that I can start having other people see the vision as well. We'll see. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. I want to do extra rooms like for like kiddos, like have different rooms like well, they're all different. Like all of the rooms are different. But like, I want one that has like Luigi, Mario and Luigi, like mansion with like the mirrors and stuff. Like, I want that. I mean, it's kind of already is, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's just like that. Do one like Minecraft. And I mean, they got two basements. One's gonna be, obviously red. I'm just saying. And then the other one is, like I said, I have envisioned it already. It's gonna be a cave. It's gonna be a cave, and there's gonna be crystals and everything all around, and it's gonna have that pool in there. And it's I already visioned it a while ago, but everything's gonna be different. I mean, and then it's also like now I'm gonna have to get stuff for girl. It's like Barbie dream house. A Barbie dream house. That's yeah. So I'm excited. Like it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be really cool. You know. Yeah. But that's why I've always spoke my truth. I was always told to keep my mouth shut. You say too much. But people have been dying for the truth, literally. So you tell me, just because we may not agree with somebody in what they believe or say, doesn't mean they're a bad person. Doesn't mean they're using you. Doesn't mean they're trying to hurt you. Doesn't mean they're trying to, doesn't mean any of that at all, you know? But if we want to be back to land of the free, home of the brave, that's exactly what that is. Mind, body, and spirit, your being, it's technically your land, who you are. That's what frees you. But your home is your heart, your soul. To be brave enough to start showing who you are. Even if you are weird, it's okay. I know I'm fucking weird. I don't give a fuck anymore. Okay. I used to give a fuck. That's the thing. I used to give a fuck. I used to care about what other people would say about me. And I did. And I get really triggered. And I'd be like, how fucking dare you? But now I'm like, fuck you. If they want to believe that, fine. But I mean, it's okay. I can flip them off too. But at the same time, they can flip me off. And then we can laugh about it. That's how it is, you know. Just let it go. It's like, okay, like agree to disagree, kind of that, there's more to life than always fighting or worrying about these kind of things. It really is. And I mean, it took me a long time to learn that. But yeah, like that's what they say. Pluto and Aquarius is like the weird cat lady comes out. But that's true. It's true. I mean, but that's going to help other people come out that have felt outcasted their whole life, that have felt like they had to hide or felt like they didn't have a place or they didn't have a home or community. One person has to step up. I've always been the one to watch everybody else just sit around. What? Guess what? Well, shit, no one else is going to do it. This girl will, and I fucking do. I already said. I've already said this. So, but I'm not going to care anymore about what anybody else fucking thinks about me. If somebody doesn't like me, they don't like me. That's great. Cool. There's gonna be plenty of other people who like me. So I mean, I don't care. I'm not allowing that to affect me anymore. And they have a right. They also have right. They don't like me, they don't like me. But a lot of the times people that, don't like other people, it's because they don't like something about themselves. And I mean, like I said, it's a continuous kind of work to do with healing, but we're working on it. We're doing it. Like we've been doing it. We've been doing it a lot. So yeah. Oh, and there's gonna be like a lot of balls. I want to do a masquerade one. Well, of course, because why not? But like it'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be fun. It's not like I'm gonna be in the ball that long. But you know what I mean? Like it'll be fun. Like men dancing with women again. Yes. And it's just gonna be fun. Like do fun things again. I don't know. Just like it's just time to do stuff different. And even if you bring back other old traditions too, it's okay. It's just the fucking living in the moment, living life, you know? What is. And enjoy it. And start thinking like not bad, but good or and better. Better. We can all do this together. We can all work together as a collective, all of us, we can do it. But it's time for me to keep doing more work. I got a lot of work to do. Like a lot. A lot. A lot. But I'm excited. Really excited. Really, really excited. But yeah. Thank you for watching my video. My movie. Yeah, how about that? Yeah. The dark will play tricks. The dark will play tricks. They tried. They tried. Undefeated. 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 Just like whenever I took everybody on I took everybody on a trip. I took everybody on a trip. Like a trip. Well, I mean spiritually too, but you know what I mean. A trip, like a same thing. Because I mean the White House has like security there. I bypassed. But yeah, they got security there and VIP people that go walk around in the White House. Like they yeah, like they do that, you know. I'm still trying to figure out how all that's gonna work out, but that's the other thing. Um, I just people think like with God, like or whatever you believe in. You don't gotta believe in God. You don't gotta fucking believe in God if you don't want to believe in God. Whatever you believe in. Even if you don't believe in it. Whatever. But like people gotta believe in something, like, you know. Oh. But yeah. Um, now my mind went blank. But no, like really, like people think like God would know everything. Like would know what's gonna happen, like future wise. Well, there's predictions. That's why they call it predictions. But with the collective and how people choose, because you have free will, things can change. That's why things don't stay the same. So yeah, it can look that way, but also things can happen and change and be a different story. Doesn't mean that it's going to be bad either or good, whatever. And that's how it is. You can write your own story. You really can. That's if you want to believe that. You got to have the vision for it. Literally. Vision. You got to go in and outward focus. Vision. That's kind of how it is. That's why, like, even with I was talking about tornado, right? Get tunnel vision because it gets blurry, right? Blurry. So obviously, I have 20/20 vision. I don't have blurry vision. But what if somebody has blurry vision? Well, they made contacts for that. That's why they call contacts contact. Contact. Does it make sense? Everything's made how it's supposed to be made. You're here alive, you're here for a reason. We choose what we want, especially with our charts. But you know what the great thing about astrology is it can be used in so many different ways, and it's not just one thing. You can choose different things on how it all works together. So really, infinite possibilities. You believe that. But I'm just I'm just some lonely girl in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who just doesn't know anything then, right? Yeah. I'm not that smart. I know what I'm talking about. Now I think after I've read those speeches, you probably want to think differently. It's like my mom always told me, do different. I was built different. I am different. Like I said, you will never meet another person like me ever again in your life. It's a privilege to actually get to know me, like to be around me. It fucking is. It honestly is. People want to like you switch that shit around. No, it's a privilege to be around me. Really, truly is. Because I'm extremely special and an important person in this life. Vital. But everybody has a choice. They can do what they want. People don't have to get to know me or like me or be around me. They can do what they want, believe what they want. That's all on them. That's all on humanity. Like I said, I can sit here and help people, but I'm not going to do it for them. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to do it for anyone. I've been doing that for way too long, and I'm not doing that anymore. I can help and be equal in the helping and doing, but I'm no longer doing it all anymore. Hell no. You got me fucked up. You got me fucked up if that's what you think you're going to get. Uh, it's equal give and take. Every day is different. That's it. There's nothing like expectations like that. Like just work together. But we'll see. We'll see. Until then, I'm enjoying my night. And just chill and listen to music, you know? So I like listening to music. I love listening to music. It's one of my favorites. One of my favorite things to do. Just chilling too. I love just chilling. Like, well, I'll do it, but you know. But yeah, like in every single room. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm I hope you enjoyed this video. I really do. I really hope you did. I hope people are seeing my fucking vision. I'm trying, and I hope this one really does it. I really hope that this one does it. I know it does, but we'll see. But yeah, thank you. Thank you. Remember, don't judge a book by its cover. Oh shit. Okay, but no, seriously, like there's so many people that are angels down in this earth that do important jobs here. I'm fucking serious. I'm not kidding. Like, really. And you just don't ever think about those kind of things because sometimes we're so involved in ourselves and what we're doing, we don't see it. Well, you're going to start seeing it. Well, tonight you're going to start seeing it. Like, you'll see it. It'll finally be, you'll finally get the fucking, oh, finally. It's about time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, anyways. Um, yeah. You know, it's funny too, is like I was talking about Pete Buttigieg. I'm so funny. So Pete, yeah, PD over there. So he's all, like, oh, you're crazy, you know. I was like, he wanted me to go get, you know, you go see a doctor, or get checked, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, for presidency, you do have to go see, you do have to go get. That's what they do. Like they do have to do that. But you know what I mean? And then, I mean, for him, I mean, so like lucky for him, yeah, it turns out I am crazy. Yeah. Crazy in love with people and the country and the world. Yeah, how about that? How about it? Yeah. And just like this one over here last night, it's kind of funny. He's like, what kind of content are you gonna have now? Since you don't want me talking about me anymore. And I was like, oh, I was like, better content. All fun and games. It's all fun and games. But no, really, it's just like you can't see the vision, you can't see the vision. But I talk about everything. I like to involve everything and everyone. And yeah, for people that I like and love, yeah, I like to involve them into my things, into my stuff and into like, my house, my room, like all of it. My kids, you know what I mean? Like all of it, all of my stuff, all of it. But, you know, some people, they're just jealous. They're just jealous. I don't know. They're just jealous. That's on them, not me. So, I don't really care. Yeah. People that don't want to work with me, that's fine. They don't got to work with me. But there's going to be plenty of people. There's going to be a lot of people that work with me. I said, man, hell yeah. Like, fuck yeah. So, I mean, he's at the top of my list right now. Hmm. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoyed my video. I like having fun and playing around, but also these are real speeches. These are real from real people that have been that haven't had their justice and their time to say what they need to say on the other side. But they're the ones that have been helping me bring that out for myself and for others. You don't gotta believe it, but it is what it is. Have a great night. Be good. Be safe. Be kind to other people. Be grateful for every person you meet in your life, you talk to, who comes in, who comes out. Be grateful for it because you never know. There's a lot of people that come into our lives that change our lives completely. And it's always the ones you least expect, too. Really. Those are the most fun ones. So, just saying. Anyways, I'm leaving. Have a good night. Enjoy it. Chill, relax. Yeah. Rock out. Have a good time. Have a good time. Joke. Joke. Yeah. Make some good jokes. People need that. They really do. Even when you say stupid shit. Like that one video I posted yesterday. That was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. Oh my God. This is so funny. Okay, anyways, yeah. Joke. Make some funny, make, yes, yes. But I want to see some good ones. I want to see some good jokes. Good words, good jokes. Come on. I'm ready for it. Okay, I'm going now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, goodbye. Now I'm leaving.